Hello, welcome to Fibro Warrior, my new normal. I'm MJ Aragon, and I'm here with my producers, JoJo Merricks and Tony Jeffries.
Hi.
Today, we are sharing Jennifer Anderson's journey, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And also, we have two extra special calling guests. I had mentioned them previously in episode number 10 that there's an amazing film being produced right now about fibromyalgia. The film is based on 4 women, an athlete, a human rights advocate, a migrant, and a life cut too short, all in different stages of fibromyalgia. So, I know all of our Fibro Warriors, as well as the autoimmune and chronic related illnesses community, are as elated as we are to hear the news. Can you open it for me? Okay, I am extremely pleased to be speaking with Invsible, the film director, Nick Demos, who is a Tony Award-winning Broadway producer, and producer Megan Desmore of Megan Masterfit is one of the 4 women who shares her story of being an elite athlete and having fibro in their film, having anxiety. Okay. Everyone involved has different yet uniquely important reasons that brought them to this project. Warmest welcomes, Nick and Megan. Please say hello to everyone.
Hi.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having us.
It's our pleasure. Now, I've corresponded with 2 members of your team, the executive producer, Pallavi Sastry, is that correct? And associate producer... And associate producer, press manager, Sammy Jenkins, in order to get our interview all set up today. So I wanted to thank them both for giving us this opportunity as well. We thank you so much. Okay. As I often ask our listeners to share their journey with fibro, I love to begin with that. And since it has created what we refer to now as our new normal. So let's begin with you, Nick.
Okay.
Would you mind sharing with us how and when your journey began with you and your mother, Dawn?
About 10 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. And I was told over the phone, actually. My mother called me and told me. And it was very interesting because she had just come off of having breast cancer. And she believed, and still does believe, that the radiation treatment sort of triggered the fibro. And when I was told, she didn't really yet know much about fibromyalgia. And then, so of course, neither did I. And really, the only knowledge that I had was through the internet. And there's, as you are well aware, so many conflicting thoughts and ideas about fibromyalgia and was it even real and, all of that. That was really the base of my knowledge and my understanding when this came into our lives.
Yeah, that's what all of us dealt with, and I've learned that researching several sites and kind of gathering the information that they all agree on is like the best way to go, because they're all, like you said, they're all going to have different ideas. So I think that is something that we can all relate to. Although each of our journeys will have small similarities, our experiences can be vastly different from one another. I think this question is best suited for the lovely Megan. While looking back on your own journey, what are the most significant things that have surprised you about yourself and or others?
Thank you. I think I've been the most surprised by how different the physiological symptoms and challenges can be from person to person with fibromyalgia. That maybe what my biggest challenges have been are different in how they exist in my physical body. But what tends to be much more similar from one person to another is how we handle things emotionally and just a sense of resilience, I would say, and courage. There's a strength that exists through people with fibromyalgia, and maybe even the stubbornness sometimes that we are pretty determined to function through it for the most part. So I've been really amazed and in awe of a lot of the women and men I've gotten to meet through my journey, both as a professional in the wellness industry and through producing this film. I've been able to meet so many amazing people.
Yes, I agree, and you guys, I'm so thrilled. It was quite late in my life that I discovered my love for acting. So I have only an inkling of what the industry is like through my chain comedy improv workshops and small acting gigs I've had. I have to say it has helped me in such a positive and therapeutic way. Nick, I read that you have been involved with the film industry to some extent prior to your own film, Invisible. With this subject hitting so close to home, how does this film project compare to your past experiences?
Well, I've been involved in the entertainment industry for 25 years working on Broadway.
Okay.
And film is a fairly new thing for me. However, my first film was a film about Alzheimer's disease because that is also in my family. My grandmother had Alzheimer's,
Okay.
and it's obviously passed genetic. And then, my mother with Fibro. I think that I choose projects as an artist. I choose projects that are sort of close to the bone, that are important to me, because I think it's important to tell those stories that resonate so strongly for you, whether it's in a documentary, and this is my first documentary, or in the many shows and films that I've done. They all somehow
Hello?
need to find out information about that I find fascinating or interesting or something that I really want to learn about.
Okay. I agree that this is why I'm doing this podcast, because it's something that I know personally, and so I think the more personal something is to you, the more passionate you're going to be about it. And I can't stop thanking you for doing this film. I'm so excited about it. I know I may speak for all of my Fibro warriors when I say thank you for sharing your vision and making this much needed and artful film. So please enlighten us. Were you together, Nick and Megan, when you had the aha moment about creating this wonderful film?
In fact, we didn't even know each other yet.
No, I think maybe I'll start this and then pass it off to Nick, because that's sort of what happened. So I actually was challenged by a friend of mine to tell my story about fibromyalgia, because I like to say that I was in the closet. I was working as a fitness professional in Manhattan and an actress, a working actress in Manhattan, and people didn't know that I was dealing with this. I very much kept it a secret for a lot of fear-based reasons. But I was able to manage my symptoms, and for the most part, I was fine and had been fine for a few years. And this friend of mine challenged me and said, people aren't fine with illness that you have. You should talk about it. And kind of challenged me to make a movie. And I had never made a movie before. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I called my friend Polly, who I knew through my wellness and health business here in New York City, because I had heard that maybe she's a successful actress as well. I thought, maybe she wanted to produce. I didn't really know. She just seemed like a good person to call. That she'd be helpful for me with this crazy idea. Wanting to start a film production company. We started the company, and then when we were looking for a director for the film, she called Nick.
Okay.
And I'm going to pass it off to Nick now, so you can tell the rest.
Okay. Go ahead, Nick.
And so Polly and I had known each other for 10 years before when she had been in a show that I had directed. So we met for coffee, and Polly said, "Hey, I'm starting this company, and our project is a project about fibromyalgia. Do you know anything about it?" And I said, "My mother has fibromyalgia, and I want to know about it." And so I knew immediately that I needed to do the project.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I imagine, wow, that's really cool. I imagine you must both be very passionate about Invisible, the film, and what it will mean to all of our fibro, auto, and chronic sufferers out there. With all of that in mind, what impact do you think your film will make on not only those who suffer from the invisible illness, but the world as a whole?
Go ahead.
Do I take it, Megan?
Yes, whoever wants to take it.
Go ahead.
My hope is that it opens the eyes to people who don't know about fibro, it is this sort of, I think part of the reason it's called invisible is that it's an invisible disease in terms of you can't tell if somebody has the disease, right? But the syndrome. But it's also invisible in the sense that people don't know enough about it. People don't understand even really what it is and how it manifests. And my hope is that this film will open conversation about that and will demystify the, it's fake, it's in their head, that whole narrative that's out there. That's my personal wish and goal. And if we can, give voice to the community, I think it will, in turn, really help the community be able to raise funds, to get more research, any of those things that can help the community. That's my thought.
I agree. Megan?
Yeah, and we really want to show, thank you, Nick, we really want to show a spectrum of different kinds of people at different stages of dealing with this, with different choices about treatment modalities, and just really give a lot more awareness and education, as Nick said, around what this is, what it's like. I do also hope that we will more successfully centralize the fibromyalgia community in the way that we've seen other communities with other illnesses be able to already centralize, be organized, raise money, create awareness, and be able to work together on this instead of feeling so separate. Like, I know a lot of people with fibromyalgia feel very separate from me because I am able to manage the symptoms. And instead of having a conversation with me about the 10 years it took me to figure out how to do that, they just feel separate from me. And instead, I want them to feel like they can ask me anything because I want to help. I don't want it to be a mystery. So I do hope it will bring us together at the same time.
I really think it will. I really think it will. And I love all the aspects that you guys are touching on and you're going to have in the film so that it will make people understand that there's a lot of different, there's different levels of it. There's different, you could be in the beginning, at the end. And I love that you have different people at different stages in different areas with different kinds of healthcare. All those things it's so, so important. I myself have had this since I was a teenager, if not a little younger, so I understand how you feel about, I not only keeping it to myself for a while, but I didn't even know what was wrong with me for many, many years. So I relate 100%. I imagine that this has taken a lot, if not all of your time and energy, as well as the much needed resources to help you complete Invisible within this year, which led me to wonder, is there possibly a site set up where our fellow Fibro Warriors and supporters may donate funds to your project?
Yes, www.invisible-film.com. We are still raising money. In fact, I am heading back to Los Angeles in a couple of weeks to take a bunch of meetings with Pallavi, and we're actively sorting out how to get the last, tens of thousands that we need for post-production, although we have done an amazing job of raising money up to this point. But every little bit helps. Being on this podcast helps. Creating visibility helps, and we definitely appreciate anything anybody is willing to support us with.
Absolutely.
I'd like to add to that so much of the film has been done by donations, little donations, $5, $10, any amount is really helping us move the film forward. And also on the site, there's a place to go and say that you're interested in hosting a screening, that you're interested in your town having a screening, because it's really important that distributors understand that there is an audience for this film, and that there's an entire population of people that are invested in it and want to see it made.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I will actually get on that. Forgive me, I haven't gotten on that yet. We do want to sign up for that and have it hosted here. So I will definitely get on that. I apologize. I've been a little bit busy and very, very sick for a couple weeks. So I have the stupid cough that won't go away. Anyway, you guys, you guys are wonderful. Thank you both so much for taking time out of your very busy day to share a little about yourselves, the much awaited Invisible, the film out this year. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. In unison, love it. I will paste.
Feel better.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
feel better.
Thank you. I will paste their link, Invisible the Film, Facebook, from Facebook in the podcast description, so you may see for yourselves all the love and dedication they put into this project. Once again, thank you, Nick and Megan. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thanks.
So I'm going to share Jennifer Anderson's journey after that wonderful conversation with Nick and Megan. I'm so excited and elated today. I'm in the best mood. A little anxious. I don't know why. I think it's because my cough is still lingering. But anyway, I'm going to read you her journey that she actually was able to have posted on The Mighty. They shared it. So here it is. It's called The Power of Writing Your Own Story as a Chronic Illness Warrior. I have always loved and been inspired by the song Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield. I've loved it since I first heard the song on the radio when it originally came out. To this day, it is still one of my all-time favorite songs. I have since fallen in love with all her music. The song is inspiration for me, starting a support group on Facebook titled Unwritten Warriors, Surviving with HOPE, Hope, Heroes, Onward Positive Encouragement, no matter what we are going through. I am unwritten, can't read my mind. I'm undefined. I'm just beginning, the pen in my hand, ending unplanned. Natasha Bedingfield. Sorry, I'm a little tongue-tied today. I have that a lot lately. I used to have hope and be cheerful all the time, but I let my illness write my story for me instead of taking control and writing my own story. Writing this doesn't help with my fatigue and pain, but it does help some with my depression and anxiety. It gives me hope. Isn't that what we all need? What we all deserve? It helps me feel good enough that maybe I can help not only myself, but someone else too. It helps to bring awareness that we all struggle with something. Everyone is different. Every story is different, but we all share a common goal: to survive with hope. I personally have lupus, fibromyalgia, migraines, anxiety, depression, degenerative disc disease, carpal tunnel syndrome, and several other conditions. I am joined in several support groups for each one. They all give me something different and help me out in different ways. Excuse me. But I have noticed that sometimes I have a post in many different support groups before finding someone who is experiencing the same thing I am. I feel that if this group is open to anyone with any illness, then maybe we can help each other more. I have lost many relationships over my illness and never started others. I have spent my whole life learning how not to talk about what I am truly feeling, afraid I will lose someone I care about or be made fun of. I experienced that a lot as a kid with my stuttering and shyness. I have spent the last 42 years learning how to say I am fine when asked how I'm feeling. When a time comes in which I need to be brutally honest, I find it difficult. So when asked how I am feeling or how I spend my day, I find it hard to explain or clarify, as I am so used to downplaying my symptoms. I don't know how to respond. I am currently fighting for a disability. I have no job, no car, no health insurance, and sometimes no hope. It is a hard process to go through with any illness. They always want more than you can physically and mentally give. So many times I have felt like giving up, yet I keep fighting. Not just for me, but for everyone going through the same thing. I am always so happy when I hear that someone has won their battle with them. I could let it get me down. I could wonder, why them and not me? Sometimes I do let it get to me for a time. And in the end, though, I am so happy that someone else has conquered their fears and pushed on. It gives me hope that one day it will happen for me. Remember, no matter what life throws at you, the pen is still in your hand. And I know we all have different things we go through. We have different illnesses and struggles. Some are more severe than others. And one thing we do have in common is we can choose to find the joy in life. We can choose to find the positivity, or we can choose to let the darkness consume us. Be an unwritten warrior. Write your own story. Don't let anyone try to write it for you. No matter what illness you or someone you care about has, we can all learn from each other. We are all unwritten warriors fighting our own battles every day. How do you choose to write your story? Jennifer Anderson. I almost said Aniston. like the actress, Jennifer Anderson, apologies. Unwritten Warrior, Surviving with Hope. That is her Facebook support page if you want to go check it out. I thank you so much, Jennifer, for sharing your journey. And I'm so happy that you had it on the Mighty. That's really awesome. I submitted one as well. I'm sure I'll have to wait like a month. I'm having anxiety today for some unknown reason. I should not be anxious. I'm so excited about the news that we've had and the film that's coming out and getting to do this amazing interview with Nick and Megan. And we had a tiny little bit of difficulty. We lost him a little bit, some of what he was saying. It was short though, so I think we got the gist of it. It was such a pleasure. And I probably was smiling a good part of the conversation because I'm just so happy that this is happening. And and then getting to share someone's journey like Jennifer. I try to remind you guys often and always that sharing your journey is super important. And as you know, everyone, just like she mentioned, is different and deals with things differently and has many things attached. And I share quite a few of the things that she mentioned. I don't mention everything I have. I mean, I forget. I literally forget sometimes when she mentions some things in that list. I'm like, oh yeah, I have that too, degenerative disc disease. And I have, you have so many things. You get to a point, the list has gotten so long that you're just talking about the most recent things that you have, and you forget about what you were diagnosed with long ago. And I have to laugh because, otherwise you're going to cry. So I don't have time for crying anymore. I've done plenty of crying. So now I'm trying to just, always stay positive and be happy. So I went to the emergency room on Sunday. As you guys heard on the last podcast, I wasn't doing too great. My voice is still a wreck. Still doing a little bit of coughing for some reason. It's lingering on. I'm done with my antibiotics, so I'm not sure why that is. I found from some research that's kind of common. And by Sunday, because we recorded on a Thursday that time just to get the podcast together, and to catch up. And so by Sunday, I had a migraine, as you guys know, from that one that just lingered. It kind of came and went. It never really went away, but it lessened and then it got bad. And then by Sunday, it was terrible. I was literally in tears. I was crying and I was freaking out and had a lot of odd symptoms, all these things happening all at once, and my neck, my jaw, my head, everything hurt, and I've never had all of those things in combination before, so it scared me a little bit. I was like, what's happening to me? I had been out the day before in the sun, and I had an odd skin reaction where my skin suddenly, and I was completely covered from head to toe because I've dealt with skin cancer, so I don't expose myself to the sun as little as possible anyway, and I was completely covered, and my skin started itching and got red, and I was only outside for 8 minutes. It was definitely less than 8 minutes. I was out there very long. And I came back inside and things were red. And I was like, what is happening to me? This is a new symptom. So I've had this suspicion that maybe lupus is also something that's connected to me. And so I'm going to have them check on that. And as you know, I had the recent diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis. So it may just simply be something that is part of that. I'm not really sure. But I'm still going to check just to be certain. I have not yet seen my rheumatologist. I kind of put that on hold because I had some other things going on, but I really need to get in there and check up with him and find out what course of treatment we're going to take, because I'm not excited about taking the medication that they have for RA, or rheumatoid arthritis, because being that I had TB as a child, it will reactivate it. And so I'll be fighting two things at once, RA and then taking medication for the tuberculosis. So I will be extremely ill. And so I'm kind of putting that off, because if that's the road we decide to travel, it's the road that the doctor and I agree that I should travel, it's going to be a difficult one. And it's going to be difficult to do this if I'm not sick. And so I want to do this. This has been the best thing. Sorry for the sniffles. It's been the best thing that I could have possibly done, because knowing that I'm reaching others has helped me a great deal to feel better and feel purposeful. And so you guys have helped me as much as I hope I'm helping you. And I don't know. so much happening. So I went to the ER, and my honey had to come home from work and take me ER, and I was there for 3 hours. I actually got in quite quickly, and I'll tell you what, the staff was quite amazing. They were all very sweet and nice to me and pleasant. And when I mentioned fibro, they didn't give you the look, the look that you get when you tell them you have fibro, and they look at you like, yeah, sure, they don't believe you. I didn't get that, not one time. And I mentioned to everybody, I had a detailed little list in my phone of all the things I was going through, because I knew that I would, in the pain that I was in, I was going to forget things. So I had been taking notes over the last few days. So they were really thankful for that, because that helped them a lot. They gave me this cocktail. I can't remember what everything was called. I meant to grab the paper. But I wrote it. It's on my Facebook page. I posted about the emergency room visit, the ER visit. It was actually, like I said, it's fairly pleasant. He gave me an IV instead of the typical shot in the butt that I would get when I go to the urgent care, which actually, I didn't mind. I got to lay there for a while. It was such a bad migraine that I was there for quite a while, just waiting for it to go away. It's never taken quite that long. It took, I don't know, a couple hours, I guess, for it to even get down to a 4, and that's what it was when I finally left, because the bed was killing my back and my hips. A gurney, I'll tell you what, I'm sure you all have been there once, is not comfortable, not in the least. So I was anxious to get out of there, because the pain from that was kind of irritating me, and I'm sure that wasn't going to help with the migraine, trying to get rid of that. But like I said, the nurse, the RN's name is Jeremy. I'm not going to give last names, and my doctor's name was Tom, and they were just super, super supportive and nice, and listened to me, talked to me calmly, didn't give me the strange face. Just seemed like, they were thankful that I had notes. They believed me. They were very soothing when they talked to me, and the RN was kind of a little jokey. It was as much pain as I was in, and I was awful. I felt I can't tell you how appreciative I was of how they treated me. It was really good, really good. So it was Rancho Springs Hospital out here in Marietta or Temecula, Marietta. I'm not sure. It's right on the cusp, I think. Yeah, right on the cusp. And so all our experiences at ERs can vary from great to terrible. I've had both or all. Excuse me. And so I was thankful in this particular occasion for it to be a smooth one. Fortunately, I did start feeling better. I have a little tension today when I woke up, and for some reason a little anxiety. I'm not sure why I have the anxiety today, so my apologies. Christy couldn't, unfortunately, that's what I was going to say. Christy couldn't join us today. She had a lot of things to do. She had to go out of town, so we miss you, Christy. And this film, it's supposed to be out this year, and I will post, like I mentioned, the link on our page, so you guys can go to the Facebook page, and they have all the information. And if you, once again, like Nick was asking, if you want to host the movie, there's a link on their page as well for that. I think the more of us that sign up for that and show interest, the more that people will want to get this film out there. I think that it's incredibly important, because it's going to show such a vast array of what we deal with, having fibromyalgia, and all the things that, of course, are connected to it. And then in hopes to open everyone else's eyes to see that, that this is just not something that we're experiencing only, or that it's in our head, like we talk about often. That's what people make us feel like it is. It's not, And then dealing with things like this, having autoimmune disease makes me, the sinus infection I just have, it makes it seem so much worse than it would normally have been. And this cough dragging on, I'm sure it has something to do with that as well. I'm not really certain. I need to get into the doctor this week to find out what's going on, because I don't want to sound like this on every podcast. But I have to sometimes give up control of things like the page and whatnot, because I like things a certain way. I'm very, and I know it can be annoying to some people, but I like things a certain way. I like things neat. I like things done a certain way. I like things said a certain way. I'm very particular about how I do things. And sometimes when you're not feeling good, like I was the last few weeks, you have to allow other people to help you. And I know that we all struggle with that, letting someone else help us, because we feel like we're giving in to our illness. We're giving in to being sick by letting someone else take care of us. And I guilty of that more than anyone because I was missed to it all myself. So letting my love of my life take care of me was not something that I was particularly interested in doing, because I was giving up my beloved independence. And, so having to give up a little bit of yourself, you also have to give up a little bit of your independence. And, I know that's difficult for us, but honestly, we need that. We need someone to help us, because even though it makes us feel initially like it makes us weak, it's actually kind of going to make us feel a little strong, knowing that there's someone that has our back. Having your back is huge. And, I couldn't be more thankful for the man in my life. We've been together over 10 years now, and he's amazing and loving and strong. And when I'm just fed up with every time I find something else wrong and I just want to scream, and he's like, "It's okay, babe. We'll get through this together." And that's the moments where you realize, you know what? I'm glad I gave a little bit up. I'm glad I gave in and let someone be there for me, because I'd be completely alone in this journey. And I'm not. I'm one of the few probably that are lucky enough to have someone that's standing by them, that stood by them through all of it and through the changes. And I changed a lot in those last 5 years, because that's when the illness really took a turn and really kicked my butt. So, and he's still here. And and I hope that, even if it's not a significant other, a friend or a family member or someone, I hope that you have at least one person that you can, give a little bit of yourself to. Give up a little bit in order to let them help you. I know that's difficult to do, but sometimes we have to let someone in. Let someone in and let someone guide you and let them help you, even if you're stubborn like I am. So, and then having my crew, I've learned once again to give in a little bit. I like things a certain way, but you have to. I have to keep telling myself, you know what? You can look at it this way too. It doesn't just have to be your way. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. Going to your doctor, your doctor may say, "Hey, do the things this way, that way," and you're thinking to yourself, "No, I'm going to do it my way." Well, maybe your way might be okay, but the doctor's way might be right too, or not. We don't, depending on the doctor. Some doctors have a certain way of thinking. We don't agree, but sometimes a compromise is good. Yeah, listen to your doctor, but if you know your body, which no one's going to know our body better than we are, then you do what you think is best. But don't ignore the advice of a professional. At least look into it if you're skeptical. So there's a lot of ways that we have to just learn to open ourselves up and let other people help us, and know that we're not alone. We're not alone. There are people out there like we are for you to share our stories and talk about all these difficult things that we deal with day in and day out, so that you know that you're not doing this by yourself, that there are other people. And also, hopefully, with all of this and each podcast, that we'll get some other people to listen just out of curiosity, to understand what it is to have fibro even when you're on the outside, so that the people on the outside looking in can kind of maybe get at least a little bit better understanding of what we're going through by hearing all the different stories, so that maybe if they have a loved one or a significant other, or just family, whatever, any loved one, anyone that's in their life that they have to deal with on a daily basis or very often, so that they can understand them a little bit better, so that there's not such a wall up between us, between the people who believe and don't believe, between the people who are sick and who aren't sick. There has to be, one of those moments where we go, okay, this person's sick, I don't understand it, but let me try to be empathetic. And it's important. Empathy is very important. So anyway, great podcast, getting to do the interview, sharing someone's journey. I'm really happy about this one. Sorry I sound a little down. I'm actually in a really good mood. My voice and everything is bothering me. So I just want you guys to know that you are not alone. And I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. tired and all that. So I noticed that I went home and I said, I have all these allergies, I'm gonna stop eating all the things I'm allergic to. I literally stopped eating anything processed. Everything that was on there that I was allergic to, I cut it all out. Now, you don't have to do that. You can cut up, because it really limited the things that I was allowed to eat.
Right.
It really, really did. And so, but I was like, you know what? I'm tired of feeling terrible.
Right.
I cut it all out.
Right,
I
yeah.
stopped eating. I'm allergic to ridiculous things. I think I mentioned before, celery and watermelon and cucumbers, which are mostly water, you know.